Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready to take a bite out of the competition? Are you looking for ideas to make your business better? Welcome to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet,
sponsored by Apple Capital Group.
At the core of every successful business, you'll find people making a difference. And with each episode of the Core Business Show, we talk with those people, examine those ideas, and explore the strategies that make them special. Now, the host of the Core Business Show, Tim Jacquet.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Core Business Show. My name is Tim Jacquet, your host. Today I have Scott Fox. We're going to talk about his book, Click Millionaires, and some of the other books that he has as well. But if you'd like to join in the conversation, please feel free to ask your question in the chat room or email us at info@thecorebusinessshow, or you can feel free to call us at 347-324-3460. Again, that is 347-324-3460. Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Great. I guess to begin with, our audience love personal stories from authors and business owners. So if you don't mind, tell us about yourself.
Well, these days I'm an author, and unlike most authors, I guess I'm not really a writer. I'm a businessman, and I just got into writing because I had done a lot of different businesses. I tried several different corporate careers in corporate America. Did very well, frankly, but never really felt like I felt it fit in very well. I rose to some pretty high levels, both in startups and in financial industry and entertainment industry, and then even in Fortune 500 companies, several different things, but just never really loved it and always felt that there was something more out there, both financially, but also personally. And along the way, I picked up enough different experiences to start writing about the different things that I'd tried, and it turned out that the internet was very good to me. And these days I spend my time writing books that help other people start internet businesses like I have. And I give the money, the profits from my books back to charity, and try to encourage other people to make what they can out of their lives online too.
Wow. What inspired you, or what was that feeling inside that say, hey, I had to step out on my own. I can't work in the business world. Is there something the burning in you to say, I need to be on my own. I have something inside me that needs to come out?
Yeah, I think so. I guess that for me it was, well, like most folks listening to this, if you're old enough to be listening to this show, you probably went to school in the sort of industrial age school system where you don't realize it, but they're really molding you to play a role in a big company. And there's nothing wrong with big companies. Obviously, they employ lots of people, make lots of money, and make our lives better in many ways. And they make products and services and so forth. So that's fine if you're into that. But for me, I found I spent all my time trying really hard to get good grades and so forth. And then I got my first big job and did really well and didn't really like that so much. That was in the financial services industry. So then I tried again and then I tried again. I tried again. And it wasn't one specific instance, but over time I tried enough different things. I said, you know what, maybe it's not them, it's me. And the me here wasn't something wrong with me. It was just that I was a little different. And the fact is that I didn't like working for somebody else, making them rich, having to wear what they thought I should wear or be at a certain place at a certain time. And I had a lot of creativity that just wasn't being allowed to be expressed. My jobs were all, here's a set of responsibilities that are yours to execute. Don't draw outside the lines. You gotta stick to this path, and this is all we need from you. Until you get promoted, then you get to do a little more. And if you're lucky, you'll get promoted so much that you get so much work that you never get to stop and you work 24/7 and never see your family. That equation just didn't really work for me after a while. And like I said, I tried really hard. I tried several different industries and did well enough. I didn't get fired. Every time I left, people said, oh, please come back. We'll give you more money and we'll promote you. And not me. So long story short, over time, I realized the internet allowed me a place to express myself. And I'm not a technical guy. And like I said at the beginning, I'm not a writer either. I'm just a guy who tried enough things and learned enough technology and enough about business to come on the internet and say, hey, here's a playground where I can play the game how I want to play it. And that's what being a Click Millionaire is about, which was the title of my new book.
Yeah, work less, live more. So tell us the concept of writing this particular book and what will readers walk away with?
Well, Click Millionaires is about designing your life around business success for yourself. In most cases, like we've already sort of covered, you work in corporate America, success is defined as rising up the corporate ladder and getting that corporate office and hopefully a bunch of money and a good retirement package. and then repeating that for 20, 30, maybe 40 years. A Click Millionaire is about working backwards from what you really want out of life. And I'm not a get-rich-quick guy. I'm not promising millions to people. This is the idea more that you say, okay, this is my life. The things that are most important to me are, I don't know, it's up to you to define, and the book helps you figure out what it is important to you. There's a lot of exercises in there in addition to specific examples of people who've done this. But you look at your life and say, I want to do this, and I want to do less of this and more of this, and I want to live here, and I don't want to do any more of that, and I like these kind of products and these kinds of people, and this is how I want to spend my time. And designing a job and a workflow in an entrepreneurial venture online, basically a website that allows you to serve those needs that are priorities that you set. So being a Click Millionaire is about making money, yes, but not making millions necessarily. It's about living like a millionaire because you're in charge of your own schedule. You are able to input your own creativity into the business. You pick a field that's personally interesting to you, and you gradually grow that over time. I'm not saying quit your job, mortgage your house, and try to become Mark Zuckerberg. That's a 1 in a million or 1 in a billion opportunity. I'm saying, how about something that you like doing that's a niche business that you can grow over time on the side to become something that creates income for you, that is fun and hopefully meaningful and supports you in a way that allows you more millionaire-like freedom, even if you're not actually a millionaire.
Okay. So part of your book, you say that, you have to develop your own niche, and how you find something you're passionate in. How can you transfer that particular niche or that particular hobby and to make it to a business online?
Right. Well, that is the trick, right? So that's what Click Millionaires is about, the book. And we lay out a bunch of different steps. First of all, there are exercises to help people identify their own approach. And then there are 7 principles in here that I call lifestyle business design success principles. And these are principles that have come about through my own personal experience, as well as my work with hundreds of entrepreneurs over the last several years, special surveys that we did as research for my books to help figure out what's the pattern here of people who do their own thing online and make some nice money and get to this lifestyle business success goal. And these principles will help you identify how to look at a business as opposed to just trying to grow for growth's sake, which is the typical sort of corporate mentality. We're just going to grow higher, get bigger, go public. That's great if you are Mark Zuckerberg or you have a big public company as your destination in your mind. But I'm thinking there's a lot of people like me who we're happy with smaller and doing things we enjoy, and that's what the principles in the book. And then, of course, it's full of examples, too, of people who've really done this, interviews with real folks. It's not just me talking. It's real people who've done this in all sorts of different fun and interesting industries, who've worked very hard, but who created something for themselves. And the book will guide you through that. And the fun part about this also that is really worth noting, Click Millionaires is the first book I know of where if you buy the book, you get a follow-up plan. And we have a forum at clickmillionaires.com where you can come and join if you've read the book. And there's people there 24/7, me and my team, and we've got hundreds of members from all over the world now, and everybody's there. We only let in nice people who are friendly and keep the conversation very and helpful. I give awards to the people that are the most friendly, right? And you come in and you can talk about it. So the ideas that the book spurs in your head, you can come explore in the forum at clickmillionaires.com, and we'll work with you to develop those ideas. And when you get stuck or you stumble on something, we're there to help you get up again and keep moving.
Perfect. We're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be back in with Scott Fox talking about Click Millionaires. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to The Core Business.
You're listening to The Core Business Show, sponsored by Apple Capital Group. Apple Capital Group in Jacksonville, Florida, is a commercial lender that specializes in asset-based loans, equipment leasing and financing, invoice financing, commercial real estate loans, and asset-based financing in the U.S. and Canada. Apple Capital Group is a direct lender that lends on their private equity investment portfolio. 90% of most loans are decided within 2 hours, and vendor funding within 24 hours after documents are completed with a one-page application. No slow no's, just a quick decision and a fast yes. To get more information about lending from Apple Capital Group, call 866-611-7457. That's 866-611-7457 to speak with one of our loan specialists. Or visit us right now at applecapitalgroup.com. Welcome back to The Core. Once again, here's Tim Jacquet.
Back again with Scott. We're talking about Click Millionaires. Scott, is there a certain discipline that it takes to actually run an online business?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I think discipline is important. People talk a lot in the self-help industry about motivation. And you and I and probably everybody listening, you've been to these seminars, you have these great inspiring speakers and they get you all motivated and you're really excited, and then you go home and 3 days later you forgot why you were so excited and it kind of wears off. And so I think discipline is a key concept here, right? And you've done that, right? So, Tim? So, I mean,
absolutely.
You get excited,
well,
you don't have a specific plan. That's really what I think is important, is both the motivation, but also the discipline to create a plan and follow through on it. And that's why we came up with this idea of this forum, because you can read the book and you go, oh, this is great. Now what? So we try to follow through on that. So yes, I think a certain mindset is important. And I guess the key aspects of that are not expecting overnight success. This takes some real work. Click Millionaires are realistic adults. We're not get rich quick folks who are lusting after that $10,000 special guru offer nonsense infomercial type stuff. You got to be realistic and look at your skills, but you also have to be realistic in realizing that you do have something to offer. A lot of people who may not have a business background or a technical background are intimidated by internet business because they think they need to have a business background or a technical background. And these days you don't. Everybody knows something, some personal experience, expertise, maybe skills you learned at your job, or just something that's a hobby that is of value to other people, things that other people come and ask you. You're an expert on something. And those little niches can be big niches online because you can collect audiences from all over the world without regards to geography. You're not limited by just the people in your town or neighborhood or your relatives anymore. You can reach such vast amounts of people. If you have something unique and interesting to say, and then you execute it with some motivation and discipline over time, that can build an audience. And once you have an audience, you have an opportunity to create a market. And the definition of market, of course, is a place you can sell things. And that little path right there can lead you from something that's a personal hobby into actual revenue streams. And motivation and discipline are part of that I think are important. So thanks for asking that. Good question.
When do you think it's time to give up? Hey, this might not be the right market or the right time to have this particular product or service. Is that time that you say, hey, should you just throw in the towel or put it on hold and come back to it later?
Yeah. That's a good question. You've thought about this stuff. I can see you've been doing this for a while. Yeah. So what I like to recommend in the Click Millionaires book is a portfolio approach. And you're a financial guy, so you get this immediately. But just quickly, for anybody who's new to this sort of idea, it's the idea that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's what most people would call it. But this is what stock traders and venture capitalists do. They don't take all their money and bet on one company. They diversify. And I think what you're suggesting there is what I talk about too in terms of portfolio diversification. You have an idea, pick the best one you have and give it a really good shot. And I don't know if that's a week, a month, a year. It kind of depends on the situation. But if it's really not getting too far, I wouldn't shut it down completely, but I would, as you said, put it on hold. You don't have to spend a lot of money to keep a website alive. You can just kind of sit there and accrue some value, and maybe you were just ahead of the trend and it'll pick up later. But you let it kind of percolate in the background there and then go on to something else. And you can build several small businesses on the internet and make just as much money as if you put all your eggs in one basket and really made a lot of money from one business. So I think it's smart to think about. Smart said, I forget who, I want to quote somebody here, but failing early, failing often, that's okay. And that's another thing that's different about internet business from traditional business, because you're not putting hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into it. You're just putting a little money and a little spare time. Well, it's okay to let it fail because you're learning a lot and you can apply that learning to the next situation. And the more you apply and the more you try, the closer you're going to get every time. And along the way, as I said, you'll build a portfolio of these guys, these little businesses, each one kicking in a few dollars each month. And that can add up in a different way than you might have expected, but the money's still green.
What about when it comes to ads on your website? Do you think will that turn off for the additional revenue, putting ads on your website to generate income, to at least to pay for the hosting cost?
Right. No, I don't. I think ads are important, and I think people are more and more comfortable with that. There certainly was a time 5, 6, 8 years ago when people thought ads like on blogs were a no-no for some reason. But I always thought that was silly. I mean, if you're not doing this to make money, then it's just a hobby. So those are two different, that's apples and oranges, right? But if you're doing this to make money, of course you can put ads. But one thing I would do to accommodate the perception that you're suggesting there is put the ads on from the start. it's really about expectations. So if the audience has come to your site for months or years and they really like it, and then suddenly you put a bunch of ads all over it, well, of course they're going to be mad, right? What are these ads doing? We liked it the way it was. Of course they're going to complain. But if you're going to put ads on, put them on right from the start. You can use a program like Google AdSense and put them on. You can have advertisers on your site from the start, even if nobody's visiting but your mother. And you can put those ads on. And that way they're there as the site grows and people are used to it. And over time, they accrue to start making you some money. And that way the expectations of the audience aren't offended.
What can you do as with social marketing or social networking like Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn? How can that really impact your online business?
Well, those are great avenues for reaching out to meet people. There's the social and social media is really the key there. So if you're the kind of person who wants customers, and I'm thinking that's probably everybody, you want to get online and meet people, especially if you have a new website. What you want more than 1,000 or 100,000 random drive-by visitors is a few people who actually care what you're saying and care enough to pay attention to what you're selling or to your ads. To do that, you can use social media to make friends. So you could pick one or do several depending on how much time you have, but Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Google+, there's lots of these platforms, but they're all designed so that you can meet people who have similar interests and be social. And if you're honestly social, not just selling stuff, but honestly make friends with people who have similar interests, it makes sense that at some point you're going to say, hey, did you see this article I put on my blog? Or, hey, you know what? I just wrote an ebook about that topic. You should check it out over here. And it becomes a natural part of the conversation. That's what social media is good for. Not for broadcast like TV Super Bowl commercials. Hey, come buy this, but for friendly interaction. And it's a great way to build a core audience that will become loyal customers over time.
Is this an expensive option when it comes to kind of starting an online business? Is it something you can do for maybe like a few $100, or is it something that's going to cost you a lot of money to set up?
Yeah, well, I think you can do it for $100. Absolutely. That's the great thing about it. There's very low risk. You can put up websites essentially for free these days, but you can spend maybe $10 for a domain name, maybe $20 a month for an email service. Maybe you want to get a good logo that might cost you $20, $30 depending on the provider you use. You can hire outsourced services from overseas to build you fancier websites. Of course, it's kind of like a car. You can spend as much as you want if you've got a lot of money. But the simple approach, the basic approach that's enough to test the market, absolutely. $100, you're in business. Crazy, right?
Wow.
It's a real
crazy. Last thing, when it comes to anything you can kind of point to us, if you can share some examples of success stories of people who have been real successful with their online business and how they incorporate it into their life.
Yeah. Well, sure. The book's full of them. All my books are full of them. As you mentioned, this is my third book, so Click Millionaires is full of examples, as are the earlier books, and I blog about this stuff a lot, and my own podcast show, too, covers that. But, yeah, some quick ones. Well, I like examples where people have taken skills from their traditional jobs and then gone solo. So in the current book in Click Millionaires, there's a man named Al, and Al used to be in the radio business, and he started a newsletter that serves the radio industry. Fast forward a couple of years, and turns out his old employer went out of business, but he's fine because he's using the same skills he had there to publish a newsletter, and he's a very influential, very profitable force in the radio and broadcasting business. Or how about Betty? Betty's a podcaster who's making money because she's a flight attendant, and her podcast is an online radio show that just shares stories of funny things that happen on airplanes. All these things that the passengers of the flying, the passengers actually call in and leave her voicemails with these hilarious stories, and all her fellow flight attendants. The BBC calls her the world's most famous flight attendant because she's had 1 million people listen to her talk about these funny stories, and that makes real money. Or Dave Powers. Dave likes remote-controlled airplanes. So what did he do? He and his buddy started making little videos out in the park about how to build and fly remote-controlled airplanes. 100 million views on YouTube, and he's got a major business that promotes remote-controlled airplanes. Who knew that was a business, right? And not only does he get paid, because YouTube pays him for ads that run before and after his YouTube videos, but his videos themselves are commercials for their downloadable guides to building remote-controlled airplanes. So he makes money twice. These are people who've just drawn on their own lives, taking little niches of things that you wouldn't necessarily even see as businesses. And I could go on. I know we don't have much time, but I go on and on. There's all kinds of people online doing this. And that's why I write Click Millionaires and why we have the forum at clickmillionaires.com to encourage people to take a shot. I'm not saying you're going to be a millionaire, but you might have a chance to do something that you like better than your current job and make a little money at it and live a better life and be happier. That's really what this is all about.
Well, any last words you'd like to leave us with your website and any other advice you have for business owners?
Oh, sure. Well, thanks for having me. I know it took us a while to schedule this, so I appreciate you're booking me. Yeah, I guess I would encourage people. I encourage you to buy the book, not because I'm going to get rich off it. I give the profits to charity, like I said. And if you do that, you can come join us at clickmillionaires.com in the forum, and we'll be there to help you. Honestly, my parents were teachers, and I do this I don't have to work. I do this because I enjoy it. This is my calling, and I'd like to help you find your calling too. So come on over to the forum, and we'll help you out if we can. And, you'll meet some new people and have a good time along the way. That's really what I think this is all about. So thanks for having me today.
Great. Same here. And it's called clickmillionaires.com?
Yes, that's right. Clickmillionaires.com.
Okay, great. Scott, thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks, Timothy.
Okay, take care. And bye-bye. Again, this has been another production of the Core Business Show. You can download this episode on iTunes or Blog Talk Radio, or you can look at the transcripts on this on blog.applecapitalgroup or on the Core Business Show. Everybody, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. For more information about equipment financing and asset-based loans, visit our website, applecapitalgroup.com. That's applecapitalgroup.com. Or call us at 866-611-7457. We hope you'll join us for our next episode. And remember, you can always get to the core via iTunes. You'll find all our previous episodes there. And thanks again for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet.